I've pulled all kinds of shenanigans on my channel, from dumb ideas like playing EXP Ling all the way to building Trinity on Kimmy. And amongst all of these ideas, there are some that come up on my mind, but are just way too stupid to even just work at all. So, since I'm kind of out of ideas for the time being, I decided why not, instead of just wasting them, make a compilation of them to show you guys and explain why they ended up not working.
Here we go!
First up, we have the Xavier with a basic attack boost. I tweaked up his build while still maintaining that CDR build, but also at the same time enabling him to deal some portion of damage with his basic attacks. The early portion of the game went normally, since it's the build that we need to wait for to do something different.
Any last words?
It's situations like these where you end up hitting the enemy for an awkward amount of time that made me come up with the idea, like, what if I could just do something to fix this? This was the point where I got my first item, the Feather of Heaven. From here itself, I could tell that this thing was probably going to flop, but I already started, so I committed to it anyway. I was getting a good amount of kills, since that's just what Xavier does, but the impact of the Feather and Starlium Scythe was barely felt. Here's a good example of it. I hit the enemies here for a good amount of time, but the damage I did was almost minimal. I could have done the same, or even better, if I had gone for a normal build. By the late game, the enemies stopped taking damage, and I also barely had the chance to use my basic attack on them, since if I walked up to hit them, they would just annihilate me. Even with the Holy Crystal and Starlium, you'd think that the enhanced basic attack from it would at least do something, but the enemies can't even feel it. I guess you really need a dedicated passive or skill like Gushin or Harley's passive to make something like this work. Up next is the Estus Burst build. The plan was to utilize his passive that deals bonus damage every few interval and see if we would be able to do decent damage with it. Here's the build I planned for this. I was really hoping this one would work, but I was so wrong. I was practically useless from the early game. All I had was a slow, but that really won't do anything when you don't have at least some damage too. All I could do was clear mid and go help the marksman by healing him and stealing some kills. And a couple more here and there.
Thanks for the free money, bitch.
Even after getting some items and being ahead, the damage felt almost non-existent. I could be playing a full tank build and have the same impact. Thankfully, the enemies were kind of ass this game, so my team was able to easily win me this match. I doubt there would be any situation where an Estus with this build would be able to carry. Up next is the Popple Rat playstyle strategy, inspired by the old strat where you could backdoor the enemy by teleporting into Selena traps along with Bane and Faramis to take objectives. Of course, except this time, you would rely on your own traps, plus the arrival battle spell to backdoor the enemy turrets. The major downside being that you have to heavily rely on your positioning to pull this off, since you're playing without any escape battle spell.
You should have tried harder.
Popal in general is one of the best snowball heroes. Once he gets the lead, the enemy towers just start shredding automatically. So if you are smart enough with him, then this could probably work. Here's the major problem though. The opportunity to be able to teleport and steal away some turrets are so rare, it's almost non-existent. That on top with the fact that it's even less likely to happen in solo queue matches make it even worse. In fact, I only got to use this once, the whole game. The enemies were ass this game too, so we easily won this match as well. Next is the Magic Melissa, which might be really confusing, but her ultimate for some reason scales with magic power, which absolutely makes no sense at all. But I thought that maybe if we were able to pin the enemies to the wall like a Kai, it might work. Here's the build I use for this. I tried my best to make it make as much sense as I could.
Looks like today's your lucky day.
The weirdest part was that I was dealing some damage and could fight them somehow. I guess that was mostly thanks to me being babysat and getting really fed, thanks to my mid and roamer.
Oh, that's too easy.
I probably should have held Flicker instead of Inspire, though. That would probably help me make more wall pin plays. However, as you guys can kind of see, the damage is really not that good at all. And thanks to me being real fed, despite the dumbass build, I was somehow able to deal damage and carry my team. Totally would not recommend it in higher ranks, or any rank, to be honest. Brody Trinity is a concept I had thinking that if I stack my basic attacks correctly, I might be able to get a full passive stack on the first hit on the next target, thanks to Golden Staff's passive. But honestly, timing that perfect shot was way too hard, and it made no sense to even try. Plus, after the recent change on Demon Hunter, it really does not make any sense to build Brody with Trinity even more than before. Although it is quite satisfying to smack your opponents real fast with his basic attacks. The only fun part is that satisfying quick basic attacks, but it has no practical upsides. It's way better if you just adjust according to what his kit truly deserves, which is that sweet burst build he generally uses. Brody's basic attack has huge scaling with physical damage, so it's way better to rely on that raw damage. Here in this match, I just get fed, so it looks like it's kind of working, but in a real even game, it's probably going to struggle since you really can't be out there free hitting all the time. I planned on playing Kadita in the EXP with a CDR-based build, hoping that I would be able to be really annoying and have spammable abilities. The laning phase is actually decent, since she has good damage and mobility to get in and out early. I made sure to utilize my early burst potential by ganking as much as I could on the other lanes.
It's me again.
The early game went great, honestly, but I was able to get good sets and ganks from the start. As a Kadita, you probably will have one of the highest kill potential at the first 5 minutes out of most heroes in the game. But the big drop-off starts during the mid-game since, because I went fully cooldown items, I slowly became unable to one-shot burst them, and they kept getting away. And by the late game, if you lack frontliners and sustainers, then you'll most likely end up losing, since you become quite useless, as the only thing you can do is camp in bushes. Anyways, yeah, that was all for the video.